running behind this morning. We give you praise. Good morning, everybody. We are rolling in towards the end of the week. It is man, I tell you what, gonna have another few days of nice weather. Wind's supposed to really blow today, though. I think in the 30s with 40 mile an hour gusts at least. Make sure you get don't have your car parked straight downwind and get your door all messed up. Running behind. I speak that from experience. I've done that too many times. Be out feeding cattle, step out, and that door get jerked out of your hand. In fact, my Chevy has got the grab handle tore out of it from that. You got to grab the part up front. And I priced a new inside piece for my that door. I think it was $400 or $500. It's crazy. I decided I'd just drive it with I didn't need that little grab piece there. Yeah, struggles. You'd think if your brother-in-law worked at the Chevy dealer as parts man, he could get you a special deal on an inside door panel for a 2013 Chevy truck, Sean Summers, good morning. Morning, Robin. Morning, Ryan. Morning, Valerie. Mara, good morning. Tiffany, good morning. Morning, Tyson Cole. Morning, Mom. Let's see, who else we got on here? Sorry I'm late this morning. I was just not realizing what the time was, and had some stuff I was getting taken care of. And Christy, good morning. All right, we're going to go to Luke chapter 12 again. Going to just keep drilling down here a little more good stuff. It is good to be with you this morning. This still acts like it's jumping around. I don't know if it's doing it on your end, but it's doing it on my end. I should have good internet, I guess, but anyway, we're going to roll on in Luke chapter 12 here. We'll just jump right in, let others come in as they get here. We're going to go on down to verse 13. And Jesus is telling of the parable of the rich fool. There's a rich young ruler. There's a different story of a rich man. And understand something. God's not anti-rich. He's not Jesus isn't illustrating here that he doesn't like us to ever have anything. He just doesn't want things to rule us, and that be our motivation. That be the thing that causes us to bring things between him and God. When I was talking Tuesday night about true worship and surrendering our lives to Jesus Christ and really to God, to surrender to his will, his plan, his purpose, it's more than just it's more than just I guess a measure. It's more than just the obvious things. It's anything that could get between us and God that we need to keep surrendered. God doesn't always require everything from us. He just doesn't he guards against those things becoming a God, but that or something that's more important, like a God to us. You can have certain things that you value so much, and you'll leave God's plan in order to keep those or take care of those or let those rule your life. That's what he's looking at here. Let's look at verse 13. It says, "Then someone called from the crowd, 'Teacher, please tell my brother to divide our father's estate with me.' in their days, in their day, the oldest got it. It didn't really matter. It's pretty much that's the way everything went. And so I don't know if that's the case here, but that was traditionally that's what was done, and certainly not. It was certainly given to the male children, but the most was given to the oldest son, I should say. That's the way it was worked. And he says, Jesus replied, "Friend, who made me judge over you to decide such things as that?" Then he said, "Beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own." So he shifts from this guy saying, "Hey, get my brother to divide our estate with, help me out here, Jesus." And he says, "It's not my place to judge," but he said, here's what's most important is don't let greed rule your life. And that's one of the reasons that God directs us through the Proverbs and through Jesus' ministry to not let money rule us, is because things like greed will cause you to not use it for what God's plan would be involved in our lives. And there are people who are gifted to make money, make a lot of money, and that's to not just for their own power, their own ability, their own use. It's also to do for others. And so he says here in verse 16, let's read that again. He says, "Beware against every kind of greed." So he points first of all to the evil of greed. Greed it's a powerful force in people's life. And if a person goes from having nothing, you don't have to have a lot of money to be greedy, right? I mean, it's just that you're always worried about getting more, getting yours, getting, it's a spiritual thing to that point. And doesn't mean you can't have money or gain money or have a desire to make more. That's not wrong. It's when it begins to be consumed with greed, and the motivator is greed. He says, because greed will say, "I want mine at the expense of anybody else. I don't care what it does to others. And when I get mine, I forget everybody else. I'm not going to worry about somebody. I'm going to forget the little people." Money changes people sometimes. And it would be hard for it not to change you if it came quickly, like large sums. But anyway, 16 says, "Then he told them a story. A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops." So good productive ground. "And he said to himself, what should I do? I don't have enough room for all my crops." Then he said, "I know, I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and other goods. And I'll sit back and say to myself, my friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy, eat, drink, and be merry." In other words, enjoy your abundance. But God said to him, "You fool, you'll die this very night. Then who will get everything that you worked for? Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth," but now he didn't stop there. All right, so it's not foolish to have a savings, to build wealth, but he says, not have a rich relationship with God. Here's the difference. This man was thinking about no one but himself. He didn't realize where his gifts came from, where his blessing came from. He didn't consider others in the midst of it. A relationship with God separates us from greed. It doesn't separate us from our stuff. Ooh, that's good. Thank you, Lord. That's good for us. See, a relationship with God, a rich relationship with God, doesn't separate us from our stuff. It separates us from greed, which would control us and keep us. See, God will continually keep more and more into our hands if we are surrendered to Him. We have a rich relationship with Him, and we're willing to use what He's blessed us with to do work in the kingdom of God, help others, doesn't mean you give it all away. He never said this man's a fool for being rich. He said he was a fool for putting his value, his greed said, as soon as he had extra and abundance, more than enough, his first thought was, well, I just need to store more up. I just need to take care of me, and so I can just eat, drink, and be merry. I can just sit back in ease. Now, Jesus didn't say, well, you're a fool to have money. He said you're a fool to not use it for good things and to not consider God in any of it. That's the difference. I tell you what I've seen is that as we take the talents that God's given us, we work hard. The Bible's full of hard work, full of, that we've read through the Proverbs, and I'm going to finish the book of Proverbs. We got through, I think, verse 17 or chapter 17 or 18. We're gonna finish. I'm gonna come back and record some for here in a couple of weeks when I'm gonna be gone for a little bit, and we're going to. But it constantly talks about hard work, wisdom, taking care of your money, saving money. There's plenty of scripture that talks about that. But the point here of Jesus' message is that you're making the focus and your struggle about what you don't have instead of what you do. This person that yells out from the crowd saying, my brother's got money and I don't have any money and I need money and this, his focus was wrong, and Jesus is redirecting that. He's saying, look, don't let your pursuit of money rule your life. Let your relationship with me rule your life, and let me direct everything that you do. When we trust God in all that we do, you don't have to make a tremendous amount of money to accumulate a lot and be blessed and have things and have them in a way that brings blessing. God will guide and direct your life. And there's certain things that are more valuable than money. See, this man, his money, he thought, man, I got it made because I made all this money, and then he ends up dying. And Jesus said, look, all of that didn't do you any good at that point. And so, just bringing a balance to our life. See, our pursuits need to be, first of all, our relationship with the Lord. And that's what he's directing back to. He says, you're a fool because you stored up earthly wealth and didn't have a relationship, a rich relationship with God. So we work on that relationship with God. And then that brings everything else in balance. And we don't allow greed to rule our life. Greed would be worried and focused on all of the things you're accumulating, because I love that he says, verse 14 again, beware, guard against every kind of greed, for life is not measured by how much you own. It's not measured by your stuff. It's measured by your investment in others. It's measured ultimately, eternally, by what we do with what we have, with what God has given us. And so, keep that focus correct. Bring it before God and say, okay, God, I have this. What do I do with it? And honestly, whenever we begin to search for wisdom from God, there'll be times when he'll. My experience has been there's times when he says save, pay off any debt, prepare for something. I mean, God will take what you have in excess at times to prepare you to take care of something else. But then he'll also provide you opportunities to give into people's lives, into ministries, into things that God's doing. He'll bless you, and as the result of that obedience is God's return, his blessing, his provision. And you won't need more barns, but you won't ever lack for anything. It's an amazing life to live, and God continues to provide. And here's okay, side note. If you desire to do more, but you don't have it, you say, boy, I really would like to give more, but I just don't have. Don't focus on the fact that you don't have. Focus on the fact, God, I want to give more. God, I want to be in this place. And you begin to watch, and God will put it in your hands, and you can do more. And then what'll happen? It'll be empty for a moment, but it'll be full again. God will continue to give you the ability and the capacity to bless others, to give, and it's an amazing thing to watch, an amazing thing to see. So, but it all requires faith, and that's something that's not specifically said. But when we make our relationship with Jesus Christ our number one goal, not our stuff, not our work, not all these things out here, but our relationship with God, and we put Jesus first in our lives, then all these other things begin to be in order. And there may be a time where you do put up a barn. God says to add storage space, a place to store more. God may give you wisdom or have you set back more. But it's not from I'm going to take care of me. It's out of obedience to God, so that you have the ability to distribute as God says and take care of things. But as you make God and put God first in all that you do, He will bring blessing on your life and enable you to do more. I've seen it over and over again. So it's not our motivation to get more stuff, right? That's the separation. Our heart is, I just want to be a blessing. I want to take the talents, I want to take the provisions, the gifts, and everything that you've given me, Lord, and do with it as you'd have me to do. And keeping that heart is the blessing. It's not, what do I got? It's, how can I be a blessing, Lord? How can I be obedient to you? How can I follow you? Well, listen, as you go out through your day to day, sometimes our greatest goal for a day is, Lord, it should be just, Lord, I want to please you today. Lord, what can I do? And as we do that, God begins to give us opportunities. So remember that, look for those opportunities, and be obedient. And you'll be amazed at how many times God can use you. Well, go out through your day today, be a blessing to somebody, and go get them for Jesus. Love y'all. Who else came on after we started? Good morning, Bill. Mayhew. Morning, Travis. Regina, good morning. Hey, Scott Keller. Morning, Central Gain. Debbie, good morning. Or Deb, good morning. Dennis, good morning. Bill Wilkins, good morning. I knew that's why I said that other Bill's last name. Morning, Boyd Pete. That is the deal. Is that to do with my door panel? Those suckers are expensive. I can't even find one at a salvage yard that was worth it. Christy, good morning. I think I said hi to everybody else. Y'all have a blessed day. I'll quit dealing with my pickup parts on the study.